Okay, and we're recording.
Hello.
Yay. Welcome back to the PRN SLP newsletter. So it's been good.
Yeah, it's been
a long time since we saw you guys.
Yeah. Last week? I don't know.
Last week, yeah. So we're recording this. We recorded a couple together.
Mm-hmm.
We're still in the same spot. Lolly's still right here. Ivy's still over there. You might see her pop in. But we're going to talk today about a couple things. But don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
So the PRN SLP on Substack.
Mm-hmm.
So follow us to get updated for these reasons why and awesome tips. We're getting some reactions from folks that are really helpful too. Like, looks like some people were asking about how Ann does templates to make work go faster, so she can get things done quicker, move from one job to the next, and not have reports pile up at the end of the day or into the week, and so she doesn't have stuff hanging over her head. So we'll talk about that later, and hopefully have more of that to go later on.
Yeah.
But today we're going to talk about
power moves of the PRN lifestyle.
Ooh, power moves.
How can PRN empower
moves.
you?
Power moves. I almost want to become PRN so I can have power moves.
I know, you should be PRN. Power moves.
Lolly has power moves.
And by power moves, we need snuggle moves.
Yes.
The snuggle. The snuggle is real with this little one right here. I know.
But what's the first power move of the PRN?
The first one is my favorite.
Okay.
It's my absolute favorite. It is you are in control. You are in control.
What are you in control of?
You're in control of everything.
Like?
You're in control of your entire life. You're in control of when you work, how you work, how many patients you see, how many hours you work. If you want to go on vacation,
the list fell off quick.
If you want to go on vacation, when you do and don't have family time, if you have all of the control on your side of the equation with PRN employment, especially when you're full-time PRN. You also still have control, even if you have a side gig PRN, because you can go make extra money if you want to. And you can get paid more for the same work and make that extra money for less time. So that control is huge. Other thing too, you're in control of your exposure to toxic work environments, toxic coworkers, toxic managers. If you have a PRN placement where maybe the manager is rude, controlling, nitpicky, whatever it is, either you can minimize how much time you're there, completely viable option, like if you don't want to necessarily go and get another place, but you're willing to stick it out, but you have the control whether or not you are there all of the time or how often you're there. Like, you can go in every other week if you want, whatever, or you can just get rid of that job, replace it with a new PRN job where that toxic coworker, person, manager environment doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That you have the choice. You have the choice. Like, I just quick example. I have one employment place, pretty toxic. However, I really don't have to go in terribly often. When I do go in, it's a great environment for where I can just put my head down, get my work done, and get out of there. I don't have to be involved with the politics. I don't have to be involved with the weird drama that goes on with the other coworkers. I'm able to put distance between that and me.
There's just more boundary control.
Yes, the boundary. Yeah, I have the boundaries, and so I can still go work there. I mean, it's and I actually really care about the patients that I see there. So for me, I know myself well enough to know when it's getting too toxic, and then I can rev back. I have that control, say, okay, well, maybe I'm not going to come in that next week and, take a break. But I will tell you, if that place ever gets more toxic to where my level of tolerance is no longer sufficient, I will drop them. And I'll put another company there. I'll go get another gig and just replace them. And knowing that I have the power to do that. This is all about empowerment.
Right.
It's so wonderful.
Because there's something, we mentioned this before, I'm going to say it again because we're coming in now and haven't seen the others, you may have missed this point.
Yeah.
Here's the key point. We're heading into a world where if you're working PRN, you don't work for corporations. You work through them for your patients.
Correct.
So you can still serve patients and work for patients through an employer.
Correct.
And if that employer is not helping you, you drop that employer and work for patients somewhere else.
Yes. Your true client is your patients.
It is not
at the
corporation.
end of the day. No. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. You can reverse this power structure to where you have the power. And
because what? You are
in control.
Okay.
Yes.
I was
So
like-
the just briefly on the other parts that you're in control of is you can control your level of burnout. If you hit burnout, if you have burnout, you can control if you take time off for that, and you don't have to ask permission. There's no permission asking. There's just telling. Like, one thing I tell people all the time is when we book a trip somewhere and we're going to travel, I say, I don't ask off, I tell off.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So I have the control. That's on me.
They can't make you.
They cannot force me to come in.
Nope.
When I say that I cannot come in.
Happening.
Power. So I have the power here, okay? You can have this power too. Next, making extra money. The control. You have control over how much you make, how little you make. You can pick. You can pick. If you need to make a lot of money, PRN in any capacity is great. Like, I've known some people who they graduated, got a full-time job. They went through CFY, they got their first full-time job. Then they added on like 2 to 3 extra PRN gigs where they would work weekends, even on top of their full-time job, and they paid off all their student debt. And then after that, they dropped it off. They dropped off those little PRNs, and some of them kept going PRN. Some of them
dropped the full time, just kept the PRN.
Exactly, yeah. I've seen both. We've seen both. So that's the thing. If you've got a big expense coming up, you can control if you make extra money to pay for it. You can. Now, you have to also be aware of yourself and take care of yourself and understand, like, you can't push yourself too far. But if you have that capacity and you're like, hey, I feel good mentally, emotionally, physically, I can go bust out some extra hours and make extra money. You have that power to do that. So that's
power move number 1.
Control.
You're in control.
Yes.
What's power move number 2?
This one actually might more be my favorite now that I think about it. The power of no. Your no as a PRN employee. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell that. I got really excited about that. Your no as a PRN SLP is a complete sentence. No is a complete sentence. Now, that should apply to anything. However, when you're a full-time employee and you've got a bossy, controlling manager who is just all up in your business and you want to take PTO, you have to tell them, or they make you think you have to tell them.
You shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't have to, but they pressure you into saying, okay, well, why are you going? How long are you going to be gone? All these things. And I'm the type of person, and I don't think I'm alone here, I don't like other people all up in my business. Like, I like to just do what I want to do, and no questions asked, okay? That's just the way I
Not to break rules,
no.
but you want to help people in
Right.
the way that you help
Correct.
people, and that makes sense.
But I don't need some therapy manager who I wouldn't really hang out in real life with all up in where I'm going on vacation. Don't need that. That is not. Now,
because
do I
we're
sometimes,
a family, and you're supposed to share everything. Why are you hurting your family?
Right. No, they're not my family. My family's here. But the thing is, I do have coworkers and stuff that I'll tell them where I'm going on vacation, but that's my choice. Like, I choose that. I am not required to say why I can't work, when I'll be gone. I mean, I need to tell them, hey, I won't be there. Like, I can't work that time that you're asking me. But
you're asking for permission.
But I'm not asking for permission.
You're stating.
Correct.
You're not requesting.
You are stating a fact.
You have the power.
Mm-hmm.
You're not
No.
powerless.
Correct. And the other thing, too, is if you get a text message or a phone call from one of those managers that says, hey, we really could use some extra help tomorrow. But let's say that you've already made all the money you want to make for that week or whatever, you've hit your goals, and you had already planned to take your kids to the zoo that day.
Or whatever.
Whatever, fill in the blank, whatever it is, you can just say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not available. That's it. You don't have to tell them why. They don't need to know why. All they need to know is that you are not available. So your no has power, is my point. One sentence that you came up with that I really like is, a PRN's no is heard.
Ah.
That's a great sentence.
That is a good sentence.
It's heard because
Lolly told that to me. that was Lolly.
It was all Lolly. But if you think about it, when you're full-time, they try to coerce you, and they say,
Right.
well, why don't you take your vacation here instead of here, because we're going
It's
to need
not
extra
cool.
help here and this.
It's
Your
not
no
cool.
is not heard. They don't respect your no. They don't care about your no. They know that in that dynamic, they have all the power. They're going to use that power because what they really care about is the bottom line.
They think they have the power in that capacity.
Correct.
But the thing is, like, if they didn't have full-times, who would they use? PRNs.
PRNs.
They need you more than you need them.
Yes. So your no has weight. Your no is powerful. You can use your no without feeling bad about it. Okay? Because at the end of the day, it's their job to find the coverage, not yours.
Right.
Not yours.
Not yours.
That is their problem.
So reset.
Yeah.
So point 1,
You're in control.
you're in control.
Power move.
Point 2,
Power of no. Power
point
move.
3.
No guilt parenting. And you came up with the way to phrase that, which I really like.
Again, that was
Yeah.
all Lolly.
Yeah. But, okay, we are not parents. However, we are friends with a lot of people who are.
We're dog parents.
We're dog parents and cat parents. She's back over here. But the no guilt parenting. I cannot tell you how many of my friends, SLP friends, and I would venture to say therapist friends. It doesn't matter which discipline you're in, okay? A lot of them, most of them are parents, have kids, young kids, who kids just need things.
Yeah.
They get sick, they need you to stay home with them.
They can't go to daycare because they're the
Right.
wrong kind of sick that can't go to daycare.
Right, exactly. Like
know?
Things like that. And kids just, they need extra attention sometimes.
Yeah.
They have their own emotional needs, and there's times when kids need mental health days from school.
Yeah.
Like, there's things that those things are real. So many of my friends who have kiddos who are trying to work these full-time gigs, they have so much guilt when they're trying to deal with their full-time job plus being a parent.
Right.
Because they feel torn between fulfilling what the full-time job is demanding
Right.
and taking care of their kids.
Right.
And
There's just,
the thing is, you can do it all, you can do both, but you're giving something somewhere. And this is
you're
not
just juggling, and
Yeah.
something's not going to be juggled.
right. And that's the thing. They make it work, but a lot of them tell me a lot. Like, look, I would, when my kid gets sick, I don't want to keep getting text messages from my boss about how many times my kid's been sick and how I need to figure something else out for a babysitter so I can come into work. And a lot of them, it's an added stressor.
Right.
It's not that you can't make it work. People make it work all the time.
Right, exactly.
But that level of stress is very prevalent.
I think the key point in this is that if you're PRN, you don't have to make it work.
Correct.
If you don't want to.
Yes. Yes.
That's the point.
Yeah, and that kind of goes, it feeds back into the control and the choice. You can choose to, if your kid gets sick, you can say, hey, even same morning, like, you could wake up that morning and your kid is sick and you're scheduled to go in somewhere, but your kid is sick. You can just tell that employer, hey, I'm so sorry, I can't come in today, things changed.
Right.
You can say your kid's sick if you want. Like, it's not that you don't,
Yeah.
but you can, but you're not required to. And you canceling that same day.
Of course, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You just say no.
You just say no. And you have that power as PRN. So, and that takes the guilt, because they either feel guilty that they're not with their kids or they feel guilty that they're not working.
Right.
Like, so if you can just take this guilt away and take it out of your life as a parent, I mean, I don't even have kids, and I have benefited from not feeling guilty over not going into work. I mean, it goes for almost everybody.
And I think if we take a step back too, there's probably a lot, because a lot of species are really nice, good people.
Yes.
But a lot of people-pleasing tendencies, so you guys naturally feel bad for things that you probably know intellectually you shouldn't feel bad for.
Right.
But you still do.
Yep.
This just removes one layer of that.
Yes.
Like, you're not going to run away from your own personality if you struggle with that in general.
Right.
But at least you could remove yourself saying, well, the way I work allows me to do this, so it just makes life that much better.
Right.
Because you can have that little, like, freedom to be like, no, I'm PRN, I don't have to do this.
Right. And that's the thing, too. This goes beyond just sick kids. If your kids are into all the extracurricular activities, if they have sporting events, concerts, all of those things, you can be present for all of those if that's something that you want to do. You can arrange your work schedule to be present for those things and maybe not feel guilty for missing something because work got crazy and you got off late and,
Right.
all those things. So just that no guilt parenting thing is a really, really big part of it. And I know the full-time PRN moms that I've worked with, they have been set free.
Right.
They love it. They feel that they can be present both when they're working
Yeah.
and when they're home.
That's true.
They don't feel this torn feeling that I've noticed.
Right.
They can be there for their kids and they can be there for their patients.
That's fine.
And they can have control over when they're with each one.
Right.
And they're not having to stress about making it work.
So no guilt.
No guilt parenting, yeah.
So point 1,
Yep.
you're in control. Point 2,
Power
of no. Point
Yes.
3,
No guilt.
parenting. Point 4,
You say it.
I gotta look at my notes. It is travel.
Yes. So I've known lots of people, therapists, who traveling's like their hobby, right? They love to travel.
Yeah.
They get all into the planning and the booking and they find the deals and to them that's their thing, right?
Yep.
And they have all
It's
these
a very millennial thing.
Yeah.
Like specifically experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if travel and going places and experiencing things, if that's something that's really, really important to you, being PRN is a huge power move here because, like we said earlier, you don't ask off, you tell off. Also, if you're wanting to travel, take big trips, you make more when you're PRN and you just make more if you're adding on to your full-time gig, right? You can make more to help save up to pay for a bigger vacation. If that's something that you want.
Right.
It's not even solely just about the time here. It's about the money as well.
The other thing about it too is that
Yeah.
the degree of flexibility it gives you in your traveling is a massive empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go to book flights, or the cheapest time to fly and the cheapest time to book hotel rooms
Oh, yeah.
is Monday to Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Because or Monday to even Friday depending on where it is.
Right.
Because people generally travel either Friday to Sunday or Thursday
weekends.
to Sunday.
Yeah.
That's because they want to maintain their work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you can flip that
Yep.
and you can actually go to when there's low periods either during the week or during the seasons
Right.
or during the year, you can actually go to the same places with less fighting less people to get there, lower price, so you can literally stretch your dollar even more and have more time, less people on rides, less people in the way,
Right.
because you have that flexibility.
Right. And you don't necessarily get that when you're full-time somewhere. For
No.
example, quick example, we took a trip to Chicago not very long ago. And the way we were able to book it was that we kind of took two parts of it. We were in the suburbs for part and then in downtown Chicago for the second part.
Yeah.
Well, during the weekend that we were there, we were in the suburbs.
'Cause
So
it was cheaper.
It was cheaper.
Right.
But then whenever we switched and we went to downtown Chicago, because we were there from a Monday to a Thursday,
It was cheap.
was way cheaper. And there were
Sure.
less people around. Chicago's busy. It was still crazy.
Still Chicago.
But it wasn't as if we were there on a Saturday, or whatever. We had so much more fun and we paid less for a really nice hotel
Right.
and had a great time.
It was a lot of
So
fun.
when you're PRN like that, you're not saving up the PTO to take off those those days. You can just take them.
Yep.
Of course, you're responsible and you're making sure your bills are paid, all those things. But you have the choice here. That's that power move there.
And I'll just throw it out there, and if it's interesting enough, we'll talk about it and share later. Maybe I'll do a whole video showing how I use Google Travel
Oh yeah.
to actually structure travel things because of how it's cheaper and when to do it. Because Google Travel has really cool functionality of if you know generically where you want to go, but you're kind of open, you can figure out literally when the cheapest time to go is.
Yeah.
You can figure out the cheapest time during a week to go, and so it just opens everything up. So once you know that, then be able to work PRN and then using Google Travel to look at when the best time to be there.
Yep.
You can maximize both time and money real fast.
Very much so. So yeah, if travel is something that's important to you or that you just want to do more of and have more experiences like that, being full-time PRN is great for that.
Yeah.
But even if you're full-time and you've got some PRN gigs to help you save up for a big vacation, that is still
Yep.
very, very great. I have lots of people that do that.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the travel component of all of this.
That was point 4.
Yes.
So what is point 5?
Okay, I can't decide which is my favorite, but I'm for sure.
You know what?
Maybe they're all my favorite.
You know what Lolly's favorite is?
What is Lolly's favorite?
Point 4.
Point 4 is the travel. Yeah. She does go places with us a lot, so that's a really fun part of this.
She is out.
She's out right now.
She's annoyed when I keep petting her because I keep waking her up. So she just wants to be able to sit in my lap, take up time, take up space.
Yes, which we love. She's 12 years old, so this is kind of our day. The last power move is better mental health. We touched on this briefly in other episodes, but I'll kind of do a little bit of a deep dive into this now. I'll start by saying everyone who I know who works PRN exclusively has baseline better mental health.
Yeah. Baseline.
Now, I'm not saying all their problems go away. I'm not saying they don't struggle. I'm not saying that they don't have bad times and good times. We're all human. We all struggle. We all are in pain around whatever the things are that are paining us, right? Those issues don't just go away, but I've discovered both for me and then just talking to my friends who do the same thing I do, excuse me, the baseline, where I start from on a mental health level is better. It's better all around. Having control, for me, is something that contributes to better mental health for me. Because I know that these companies who don't really care about me, they don't control my life, I feel better. Yes, and my friends do too. It's all the same. I'm gonna get my water really quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that like it just makes troubles don't go away.
No, they don't.
But it makes work one less trouble.
Yes.
Generally in your life, so you can have through freedom of control, time and movement, all those things. You just have way better mental health because money is the number one stressor for people.
Right.
But work is a part of that major stressor. So
Huge.
if work ceases to be part of that stress, I mean, it just opens up a gateway of opportunities for you.
And this is the thing too, that like when I talk to both full-time and PRN speech paths, it's not that we don't love what we do. We wouldn't be here if we didn't love our jobs, right? But a lot of people confuse not loving being a speech pathologist with not loving being full-time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
A lot of people confuse that. And it's like, because for me...
That's a great point.
When I had my full-time job, before I went PRN only, I was so unhappy. And there were times where I was like, did I pick the right field?
Yeah.
And in reality, I did pick the right field. But I wasn't working in that field that was optimized for me, in a way that was optimized for me.
Right.
So the point here is, when I started working in speech pathology, same field, but in a capacity that matched how I operate better in the world, that brought my mental health from here to here.
And a good. Here's good.
Here's great. Yeah.
Here's bad.
From low to high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, not all of my problems in a way. I still struggle. Like I still have all the same things as I did before, but I am not having that layer of stress and pressure from a full-time employer weighing on me in anymore. And that frees my mental energy up to be a better therapist.
Right.
I treat better. Like my therapy sessions are so much better because I'm not constantly in the back of my mind worried about this, the pressures of being a full-time employee. So that level of control, having this much control over my life, not just work, but just my life in general, makes my mental health better. And I know that's true for my other friends because they've told me and they've shown me as well. Other thing too, in this mental health vein that we're talking about, is I have more time to take care of myself. And you touched on this earlier, how a lot of us who are in a helping profession, like that's kind of what you call what we do. It's a helping profession. We're people pleasers. We're used to pouring out.
Yeah.
We're not used to filling ourselves up. But what happens when we pour out and we're not filling up? We don't serve our patients well.
Right.
We're not doing good therapy. We're not able to be present for what our patients need when we don't have anything inside. So being PRN, having better mental health overall, helps me fill my cup, but it also gives me extra time to do things that fill my cup as well. So it's like the better mental health baseline helps fill part of my cup, right? But the things that I know fulfill my soul on a soul level, I have more time to put those in the cup as well. And my friends who also are PRN only have had that same experience. So it's just something to keep in mind and be aware of, like, know what fulfills you, and not being afraid to prioritize your needs and because if you're not okay, if you don't put your oxygen mask on before putting somebody else's oxygen mask on, you're not going to make it.
Right.
Period.
And all that stuff you're talking about, like, because you're doing the things to take care of you, when you are going in to do therapy and have those one-on-one sessions, that has to make you a better therapist.
100%. 100%.
Because you have the time to take care of yourself.
Yes.
You can be 100% there when you are there.
Exactly. Yes. Now, do I always do it perfectly? Are there times when I forget to take care of myself just because
it's
life? Absolutely. But the difference is when I realize that, I've been taking care of myself, I can control my ability to throttle down a little bit, or just take extra time to make sure I'm okay. A lot of full-time people don't have as much of an option, or they have the option to take care of themselves. You can still take care of yourself when you're full-time somewhere, but it takes more work to have to plan that out and have to figure out when I'm going to do this. And you don't have, and sometimes, to be perfectly honest, weekends, Saturday, Sunday, not enough time to reset. I mean, I would say actually a lot of the time. Because it's almost like you're just barely decompressing on Saturday, and you're finally feeling good to maybe do something by Sunday, but by Sunday night, you got to get ready for the next work week.
I mean, it's interesting too. This is a broader discussion, so I'll say it real quick. But when you look around the world and look at history, France, they have I think it's a 32-hour work week. They don't work. They don't work Fridays, like Monday and Thursday. And then historically, they've looked into people who have like key inventions or key insights in humanity. So like medicine, literature, all these things. On average, they only spend 3 to 4 hours of work on any one thing per day. So like there's a clear consistency that like this whole 8-hour work week, 40 hours a week is probably abnormal.
Right.
And we're still figuring that out.
Right. And when you're PRN, you can create your own work week. That is your creation. You can invent it for yourself in a way that works for you. That's what I've done for me. And the way that I work PRN is different from how some of my friends work PRN. Like I have other friends who work full-time PRN. Their schedule and their structure looks completely different than mine. That's fine. But that's the key. They can choose that. And I can choose what works for me. And knowing that I can pick, knowing that no one can tell me when to show up, where to be, how long to work, whatever, makes the biggest difference in my mental health. And there's sometimes, like I've said this earlier, but like there's sometimes when it's kind of getting a little crazy, I'm getting really busy, but I know I can handle it, and I'm choosing to go forward. You have the reserves. I have the reserves to push, to do that push
through that period
and push that period. Season. But the thing is, I also know if I don't have those reserves, if there's some reason that maybe I'm just depleted and my cup is getting more empty than it needs to be, you can pull back. I can pull back. And it's funny because there's sometimes when like maybe I want to pull back or like, but sometimes just knowing that I can pull back is enough to help me power through. No, I think I said that. I don't know if I said it here or the other one, but like just the mental capacity. Like if we did a poll, just knowing you could pull back if you had to, how much stress would that alleviate? And I think it may be like 80%. Right. And it's funny. It's like because that stress is alleviated, sometimes that gives me a little extra push to keep going and still make that money or finish those hours out. Be done. But however, I don't have to. Like there, just as an example, a couple of weeks ago, I went into one of my jobs, and when I got there, I realized I was like, oh my gosh, I don't feel well. Like, I mean, but I kind of rushed through my morning routine. I wasn't really paying that close attention to my body, but when I kind of got there and kind of settled in, I was like, oh no, I
Something
really
wrong.
don't feel well. So I remember texting Jordan and saying, I'm not feeling well. And I don't know if I should try to push through this or if I need to come home. And I kind of weighed it and kind of talked to him about it, you know, and he was just like, look, you have the option to just come home. You have that option. It's not like you don't have to go tell anybody. Like, you know, he's like, you only have a couple of people to see there anyway. Just finish them out. He's like, I don't think you're contagious. You know, you're not like, but something was just off with my body that day. And I just wasn't feeling right. So just being able, like, after I finished that last person, I just canceled the rest of my day and came home.
Right.
And I had the ability to do that. And it turned out really, really well for me there.
So let's summarize these.
Yeah.
So power move number 1.
Mm-hmm. You are in control.
Power move number 2.
The power of your no.
PRN power move number 3.
No guilt parenting. And I would also just add no guilt life.
Yeah. Power move number 4.
Travel.
That's Lolly's favorite, don't forget.
Yep.
Power move number 5.
Better mental health.
Better mental health.
Yes.
So there's a lot of power moves you have as a PRN.
Mm-hmm.
Way better things that are in your control, to your advantage, for your benefit in your life.
Exactly.
Please don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter.
Yes.
PRN SLP on Substack.
Mm-hmm.
We're also on Instagram and some other places too, but that's our primary place. We're going to push things out. So please sign up. Please subscribe so you get updated for all these things. And if you have questions along the way, please send us.
Yes, you can email us questions. If you're on Instagram, you can comment questions, you know, that we can pull from that comment section, and we can read off and answer your questions. So wherever you find us, leave us questions there. You can email them to us, Facebook, Instagram, however you want to send them to us. And we may do like a whole questions episode.
That's what
one
I was going to
day.
say.
Yeah,
At
we
some
might
point,
collect
we'll do a
them.
whole questions episode to go through that. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
But we will be.
Yeah.
So store them
Yeah.
up.
Anything you think of, let us know. We're here. We want to talk. And Lolly won't talk, but she'll snuggle while we talk.
Yeah, that's her head.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank you
again.
guys.
Have fun.
Bye.